The sound of my sister's voice still cuts through me like glass. You don't need it. You're single. Give me your car. Her hand was already on my keys like they'd been hers all along. My stomach twisted as the family stared, silent, expectant, their eyes telling me to fold. My name is Claire. And from wherever you're watching this, stay with me. Have you ever been treated like a stranger in your own family? The air was thick in my parents' living room. She was 6 months pregnant, belly pressing against her oversized sweatshirt, but her words hit harder than any punch. You have no children, Claire. You don't need a car that size. I do. 3 kids. 1 more on the way. Don't be selfish. Selfish. That word clung to me like smoke. My car wasn't new. A 7-year-old SUV, scratched on one side but mine. Paid in full with 2 years of skipped vacations and endless overtime. I opened my mouth, voice trembling but steady enough. No. The word landed like a gunshot. Faces turned. My mother shook her head, disappointment carved into her features. My father wouldn't even look at me. My brother muttered something under his breath that sounded like, unbelievable. But my sister, oh, she smiled. A twisted, knowing smile. Like I had just written my own sentence. I left that night carrying the weight of every stare, every judgment, every whispered accusation. But I still had my car. Or so I thought. 3 days later I walked outside, coffee in hand, ready for work. And the driveway was empty. No skid marks. No broken glass. Just the ghost of my car where it used to be. I froze, heart pounding against my ribs. The police said it was probably a joyride theft. But my gut told me different. And when I pulled up the tracker on my phone, the blinking dot appeared on a familiar street. My sister's street. I drove there in a friend's car, hands shaking on the wheel. And when I turned the corner, my breath caught. There was my SUV, sitting bold and unhidden in her driveway, like it had always belonged there. Her kids' toys were scattered around the front yard, her husband's truck parked right beside it. And in that moment I knew. This wasn't theft. This was war. And my family had already chosen their side. I didn't knock. I didn't call. I walked straight up to the front door, fists clenched so tight my nails dug crescents into my palms. When the door opened, my sister stood there, smugness dripping off her like perfume. Oh, Claire. Didn't expect you so soon. Behind her, I saw it. The car seat already buckled into the back of my SUV, her toddler's sippy cup rattling in the cup holder like a mocking laugh. What the hell, Jenna? My voice shook, but not from fear. From rage. You stole my car. She tilted her head as if amused by my accusation. Stole? Don't be dramatic. I borrowed it. For the kids. You weren't using it properly anyway. Not using it properly? My laugh came out broken, bitter. It's my car. Paid with my money. You don't get to decide. She cut me off with a sharpness that left me cold. You'll understand one day. When you're a mother. Right now you're just selfish. There was again. That poison word. Selfish. I stormed past her, ignoring the shrill protests, and yanked open the driver's side door. My keys slid in, but the ignition wouldn't turn. I froze. Looked down. The lock cylinder had been changed. You changed my locks? My voice cracked. She shrugged, arms folded over her chest, belly pushing forward like a shield. Well, technically it's my mechanic. But yes. Didn't want you to, overreact. Overreact. The audacity made my knees buckle. My car, my hard-earned freedom, was sitting there in her driveway with a new lock like I was the intruder. Give me the keys, Jenna. No. Give me the goddamn keys. Her eyes narrowed. You'll thank me later. Behind her I saw movement. My mother stepping into the hallway, her arms crossed just like Jenna's. My father appeared too. They'd been there the whole time. You're embarrassing yourself, Claire, my father muttered. Stop fighting with your sister, my mother added. I looked from one face to the other. Not one of them saw me. Not one of them cared. I was the stranger in my own family's house. I left before the tears broke free. My chest burned, but I kept my head high as I walked back down that driveway, past my own stolen car, past the children's toys scattered across the lawn. The world blurred as I drove off in my friend's borrowed sedan. Rage, humiliation, betrayal, layer after layer pressing down on me until I could barely breathe. They had all sided with her. They had taken what was mine. And they thought I would just accept it. But I don't break easy. If Jenna wanted a war, she had one. And I was already planning how to win. I started with proof. Photos and timestamps. The way the sunlight hit my hood ornament at exactly 9:12 a.m. The GPS breadcrumb trail that showed my car leaving my address and arriving at Jenna's at 9:04. I filmed the driveway from the privacy of my car across the street. Long lens zoom so the image was quiet but undeniable. My license plate, the dent on the passenger door, the toddler cup in the cup holder. No theatrics. Just facts. They say anger is a storm. Mine was clinical. I uploaded the tracker data to my phone, printed the service receipts where my payments were stamped in black and white. My name, my bank. I wrote a statement and took it to the police. The desk officer listened with a patience that felt like a test. "We'll open a report," she said. "But family disputes are complicated." Complication is the bureaucratic word for, we don't want to get involved. I didn't leave. I didn't beg. I left the file on the counter and walked out with a copy tucked into my back pocket. Evidence is a slow kind of warfare. It doesn't scream. It corrodes. At home I made a video. Not the wild, tearful confessional people expect. No, I was steady. Close-up shots of the receipts, the tracker map pulsing like a heartbeat, the photo of my car in Jenna's driveway. I put my voice over it, low, contained. "This is my car. I paid for it. It was taken without my consent." I didn't name anyone. I didn't have to. The clip lasted 47 seconds and it landed in the group chat my family refused to answer. The spread. One of my friends reposted it. Someone from high school left a comment asking if I was okay. Strangers wrote things like, "That's robbery," and, "Hope you get it back." The message threaded through acquaintances I hadn't spoken to in years and landed, inevitably, on Jenna's phone. He called me that night. I let it ring until it went to voicemail. No apology. No shame. Her message was clipped, businesslike. "Give it back," she said. "And stop making this public." So I escalated. I went back to the police with a list of dates and times, with witnesses who had seen my SUV at her house. The FedEx driver who'd dropped a package that morning, the neighbor who'd videoed their porch camera. The clerk printed my declarations and stamped them. Suddenly the tone in the room shifted. Paper has a way of making people legally uncomfortable. That same night, Jenna posted a family photo, grinning kids, a caption about doing what's best. Comments poured in and a thread of questions about my video crawled beneath her smiling face. Her smile didn't reach her eyes. I watched her unravel in small, exquisite ways. Silent texts. The way she started locking her front gate at dusk. The subtle paranoia in family gatherings. Whispers that tightened like a noose. My parents stopped answering calls. My brother avoided eye contact. But the public record was growing. Timestamps, report numbers, witnesses, the social media clip that refused to die. Then a message from an unknown number landed on my phone. A lawyer's name, a request to cease and desist from public commentary. A legal threat wrapped in polite diction. I felt a strange, cold satisfaction. They could threaten me with lawyers and silence, but paper cuts left scars too. I had already started compiling a different kind of file. Texts, voicemail recordings, the new lock invoice with Jenna's mechanic's name smudged across it. The slow, careful pile of proof that would not be brushed away by family loyalty. The war had moved into daylight. My evidence had made it impossible for everyone to look away. And yet, when I sat at my kitchen table that night, the photograph of my dented bumper under my finger, the house suddenly felt lonelier than any battlefield. I wasn't sure where justice lived anymore. In the courtrooms, in the group chats, in the cold hum of a tracker map. But I knew this. I would not be erased. Then Jenna showed up at my mother's house the next morning with a man in a suit I had never seen before. He carried a folder the color of old secrets. The man in the suit had the kind of smile that wasn't a smile at all. Tight, rehearsed, meant to unsettle. His shoes sank into my mother's carpet like they didn't belong there, but his voice filled the room with authority. "Claire," he said smoothly, "my name is Richard. I represent your sister." Represent. As if she were some corporation instead of a thief who'd stolen my car. Jenna sat on the couch beside my mother, one hand on her swollen belly, her expression staged like a victim in a photo shoot. My father hovered behind them, silent, arms folded. I stood across the room, spine straight, fingers digging into my jeans. Richard placed the folder on the coffee table. "We're here to discuss a transfer of ownership. The vehicle in question is..." "My car," I snapped. He didn't blink. "Currently in your sister's possession. Given her family circumstances, the court could view her need as greater than yours. We're prepared to offer you a small compensation in exchange for the title." Compensation. The word came out like ash. Jenna leaned forward. "It's not like you even need it, Claire. You don't have kids. You can get something smaller, cheaper. We're offering you a fair deal." Fair. My voice broke. "You stole from me. You changed the locks. You paraded my car around like it was yours. And now you want to buy it off me." Richard slid a piece of paper from the folder, turned it so I could see the figure typed at the bottom. $5,000. I laughed. Loud, bitter, raw. "That car's worth double that. At least." Jenna's face hardened. "It's not about the money. It's about family. You don't get it, do you? You've always been selfish, Claire. Always hoarding what you don't even need." That word again. Selfish. It carved into me like a blade, every repetition a reminder that no one in this room would ever see me as anything else. I picked up the paper, crumpled it in my fist and dropped it back on the table. "You'll have to drag me into court. Because I'm not signing a damn thing." Silence. Heavy choking. Then my mother spoke, her voice trembling with practiced disappointment. "Claire, just do the right thing. Don't tear this family apart over a car. Over a car. The car that carried me to every double shift. The car that sat with me on nights when I was too exhausted to climb the stairs. The car that had been my one anchor in a life where I had to fight for every scrap I owned." I turned to Jenna, her smugness now sharpened into cruelty. "You think this is about a car?" I whispered. "You've taken more than that. You've taken my place in this family. You've taken every ounce of respect I ever had left. But you know what, Jenna? You've made a mistake." Her eyes narrowed. "What mistake?" I leaned closer, just enough for my words to slice through the air between us. "You underestimated me." Then I walked out, the papers still crumpled on the table, their silence trailing behind me like smoke. By the time I hit the driveway, my plan was already forming. Cold, precise, inevitable. If Jenna wanted to play legal games, I'd play better. I'd play to win. Because I had something she didn't. The truth. And truth, when sharpened, cuts deeper than any blade. The courthouse smelled like dust and paper. A place where silence wasn't silence. It was judgment hanging heavy over every tile, every echo of footsteps. I walked in with my folder clutched against my chest, the evidence I'd spent weeks assembling. GPS logs, mechanic invoices, porch camera footage, the police report stamped with a case number no one could ignore. And tucked inside at the very front, a photograph of me, standing next to my SUV the day I bought it. My hand on the hood. My name on the license plate frame. A reminder to myself. This is mine. Jenna arrived late, belly leading, Richard shadowing her like a well-fed wolf. My parents trailed behind, their faces carved from stone. Not one glance toward me. Not one flicker of support. The hearing wasn't long. Richard spoke first, weaving a story that painted Jenna as a mother on the brink, forced into desperate measures for her children's safety. He used words like necessity and family obligation. Every sentence was dipped in honey meant to sway. Then it was my turn. My hands trembled when I stood, but my voice did not. "This isn't about family. This is about theft. My sister broke the law. She changed the locks on my car. She lied. And if she'll steal from me, she'll steal from anyone. Don't dress it up in excuses. Don't turn me into the villain because I don't have children. Need doesn't erase ownership. Need doesn't erase truth." I laid down my stack of proof, each page a blade. The judge flipped through them, his expression unreadable. Richard's polished smile began to falter. Jenna's jaw tightened. My parents shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Then the judge spoke, his voice low, final. The vehicle is legally yours, Claire. You may reclaim it immediately. Any attempt to obstruct this will result in charges. The words hit the air like a gavel made of thunder. For the first time in weeks, my lungs filled with something other than rage. Relief, sharp, intoxicating, flooded my chest. Jenna hissed under her breath as we exited the courtroom. You think this is over? You've embarrassed me. You've embarrassed all of us. I stopped, turned, met her glare with a steadiness I didn't know I still possessed. No, Jenna. You embarrassed yourself. All I did was hold up the mirror. That night I drove my SUV home. The familiar hum of the engine was like a heartbeat syncing back with mine. Every mile was a reclamation. Every turn of the wheel was a victory. But victory doesn't silence betrayal. The texts came in rapid fire. My mother begging me to apologize, my brother calling me heartless, my father saying I'd destroyed the family name. And Jenna? She flooded social media with venom. Posts about selfish siblings, carefully cropped photos designed to turn strangers into her army. I should have ignored it. I should have savored my win. But her words spread like wildfire, catching in the dry grass of gossip, turning neighbors into judges, friends into skeptics. I realized then the courtroom hadn't been the end. It had only been the opening act. Because Jenna wasn't done. And neither was I. The first stone Jenna threw wasn't physical. It was digital. A week after the court ruling, my phone buzzed with a message from a number I didn't recognize. A screenshot. A post. My face plastered across Facebook, captioned in Jenna's syrupy, venom-laced words. Some people will never understand sacrifice. Some people care more about objects than family. Pray for my children, growing up with an aunt who chose a car over blood. Hundreds of likes. Dozens of comments. Women with profile pictures of Bible verses calling me heartless. Men sneering that I was jealous. Strangers dissecting my life as if they'd been there in that living room, in that courtroom. It didn't stop there. My employer pulled me aside. Someone, anonymous but I knew who, had emailed HR claiming I was unstable, that I had violent tendencies. They couldn't prove anything, but the whisper was enough to stain my reputation. Friends I'd known for years stopped answering calls. Invitations dried up. Jenna didn't just steal my car. She was trying to steal my name. And for a moment, it worked. I lay awake nights staring at the ceiling, wondering if maybe they were right, if maybe I was the villain in this story. But then I remembered the silence in that courtroom after the judge's ruling. The way Richard's polished smile cracked. The way Jenna's face burned red with fury. Truth had power once. It could again. So I sharpened mine. I gathered every message, every voicemail, every screenshot of her slander. I found a lawyer, not a family friend, not someone swayed by tears and guilt. A woman named Sarah, sharp as glass, who looked me dead in the eye and said, "If she wants war, we'll give her war." Together we built a case. Defamation. Harassment. Damages. Every screenshot became ammunition. Every whispered lie became a weapon turned back on its maker. Meanwhile, I played a different game in public. I stayed silent. Let her dig her hole deeper. Every post she made was another nail in her coffin, and I collected them like treasure. Until one night, scrolling through her feed, I found something she hadn't meant for the world to see. A careless photograph, her husband grinning beside my SUV, a caption bragging about family upgrades. And in the reflection of the shiny black paint, I saw it. The faint outline of a car seat box, unopened, still with the price tag taped across it. My stomach dropped. She had lied about needing the car for the kids. The new seat had never even been installed. The betrayal cut deeper, but the evidence was gold. Because this wasn't about safety. It was about ownership. About taking what wasn't hers because she thought she could. The next morning, Sarah drafted the papers. Jenna was about to be served with something heavier than guilt. Summons and court dates with her name on the top line. And when the server knocked on her door, I imagined her face twisting as she opened it. For once, she couldn't spin the story. She couldn't post her way out. Because the law had her name now. and I was ready to watch her choke on it. The day of the hearing, the air outside the courthouse felt heavier, as if even the sky was bracing for impact. Jenna arrived in full theater, belly forward, children tugging at her hands, her husband carrying a diaper bag like a soldier in uniform. Cameras of friends' phones hovered discreetly, ready to capture the martyr image she'd curated online. But when she stepped into the courtroom, the stage lights dimmed. Because this wasn't Facebook. This wasn't a family gathering where silence equaled complicity. This was law. And here paper outweighed pity. Sarah rose first, her voice a scalpel. She slid the photographs across the table. Screenshots of Jenna's smear posts, timestamps of her lies, the reflection of that unopened car seat box gleaming like a scarlet letter. "Your Honor," she said, steady as stone, "my client was not only deprived of her property but publicly defamed. These are not misunderstandings. They are deliberate attacks designed to damage reputation and character." Jenna squirmed. Her lawyer tried to object, but each objection was overruled. Evidence was merciless. Then it was Jenna's turn. She stood, voice trembling just enough to sound rehearsed. "I only did what I had to do for my children. She doesn't understand what it's like to be a mother." The judge raised a hand, silencing her. "Miss Harris, what I see here is not sacrifice. What I see is theft and defamation. You cannot paint over these facts with sentiment." The words landed like hammer strikes. My parents sat in the back row, rigid and pale. For the first time I caught my father's eyes, and there was no anger there, only shame. My mother's gaze flickered downward as if the floor could swallow her. When the ruling came, it was swift, undeniable. Jenna was ordered to remove every defamatory post, to issue a written retraction, to pay damages, $15,000, for the harm she'd inflicted. And most cutting of all, the judge warned that any further harassment would result in restraining orders. The sound of the gavel echoed like thunder. Jenna's face drained of color. Her husband muttered something sharp under his breath, his mask slipping for the first time. The children fidgeted, unaware their mother's empire of lies had just crumbled. I walked out of the courtroom with Sarah at my side, my SUV keys heavy and solid in my pocket. The sunlight felt different, brighter, sharper, cleansing. But the victory was not just legal. It was personal. For once, the truth had been louder than Jenna's voice. That night, the group chat lit up again. My brother wrote, "You didn't have to go that far." My mother begged, "Just drop it. We're family." And I typed back slowly, deliberately, "Family doesn't steal from you. Family doesn't lie about you. Family doesn't break you down and call it love." Then I muted the chat. For the first time in my life, their silence didn't scare me. It set me free. But the story wasn't complete yet. Because the final piece wasn't about courts or cars or even money. It was about looking my sister in the eye, without fear, without rage, and giving her back the one thing she'd never expected. Closure. And I was ready to deliver it. I found her on the porch a week later. The lawsuit had stripped her shine. Her hair was unbrushed, her eyes rimmed in red, her belly rising like a fortress she could no longer hide behind. Toys littered the yard, but none of her children laughed. Even they could sense the fracture. She looked up when I stepped into the driveway, keys swinging lightly in my hand. My SUV gleamed behind me, freshly washed, the dent still there. A scar, but mine. Always mine. "What do you want?" she snapped, though the fire was ash now. I took a breath, let the silence stretch between us. "Not your apology," I said quietly. "You don't have one to give. Not your excuses. I've heard them all. I came here to say something simple." Her arms folded across her belly. Defensive. Waiting. "You didn't break me." Her eyes flickered, a crack in her mask. "You took my car. You tried to take my name. You even tried to take my place in this family. But I'm still here. And I'm not bending anymore." She opened her mouth, but no words came. Just the faint sound of her children inside, the soft hum of a house that suddenly felt like a cage. "I hope one day," I said, stepping back, "your kids see the truth for themselves. And I hope you realize the weight of teaching them that love means taking until there's nothing left. Because that's not love. That's hunger." The wind picked up, scattering papers from her porch table, lifting strands of her hair across her face. She didn't chase them. She just sat there, shrinking into the chair that once looked like a throne. I turned, slid into my SUV and started the engine. The wheel fit perfectly under my palms, humming with life, with freedom, with victory. As I pulled away, I didn't look back. Not once. Because revenge isn't always fire. Sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's distance. Sometimes it's the simple act of driving away in what is yours, never again asking for permission to exist. The road stretched out ahead of me, long and unbroken, and for the first time in years I felt weightless.